Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to my very first runway review. Today is going to be all about the Spring 2024 Couture Week shows that all happened last week in Paris. Haute Couture is all about stepping outside of the box and being a bit more avant-garde. Doesn't necessarily have to be completely wearable. In fact, I personally prefer that the designers compromise wearability for theatrics in this particular sphere of fashion. And there were quite a few designers who did a great job with this year. So let's get right into it. First up, we have Alexis Maybelle. This particular look was one of my favorites. I love the big bow at the top, and I love the way that it billows down the arm and connects at the very bottom of the sleeve. I thought that was a really interesting way to add to the silhouette. There were a couple other looks here that I thought they did really well, especially with the architecture of the piece. I know this is something that is not completely revolutionary, but it was beautifully done. Next up, we have Armani Prive. I love the texture of the pants in these looks, the metallic-y, flowing finish. I think the tops that they chose to go with these pants really complemented the overall look in terms of silhouette and texture, especially this one here with the rhinestones. This look in particular I thought was very well done. I love when designers mix hard and soft elements to create something that's very harmonious. I love the way the rhinestone structure contrasts with the billowy drapery of the bottom half with the fabric, and I love how they still kept a lot of structure with the architecture and the pleats. Next up, we have Miss Sohee, which I think was a beautiful collection. I especially love the atmosphere that they chose for the show and the way that they just decorated the whole venue. I thought that was beautiful. I love all of the luxurious satin elements in the dresses, and I love how it was very, what is the word? Opulent, very opulent without being overdone, costumey, or tacky. I know that's a very fine line, and when you go with a lot of jewel tones and a lot of satin, it is really hard to keep it from getting outside of the elegance sphere. But Miss Sohee did an absolutely beautiful job with their collection this time. The beading on the sleeves in this look is absolutely stunning, and I also love the architecture of the silhouette in this particular look. I don't know what that is behind her, if it's just a sleeve or if it's part of the dress, but it was a very interesting way to make the silhouette a little bit more dynamic. Elie Saab had some beautiful looks as well. Again, this mix of hard and soft textures I think is one of the best ways to do haute couture. I love the silhouette of these dresses particularly. I love the scarf. I think it's a perfect addition to these looks, and I think really added a lot to the overall look. And I think that this is a great example of how such small details can make such a huge difference for an outfit. And of course, I have to talk about this jacket. This was absolutely stunning. You can see here the detail in the soft feather-like texture. I'm not sure if that's real feathers or not, but it was stunning, and I think just a beautiful addition to the collection as a whole. I think they did a great job with the silhouettes in so many of their looks. I love this whole concept of having a billowy cape situation behind you while still keeping the silhouette of the actual garment very fitted to the body. It just gives a very ethereal vibe to the entire presence of the woman wearing it. I thought this look was very well done too. I think the color for it is perfect. The asymmetrical puff sleeve and the slight bow detailing and the fabric choice, everything was just so beautiful. And I love how you have so many very bold style elements that work together so harmoniously without being overdone. Next up, we have Jean Paul Gaultier, who is, by the way, one of my favorite designers, even if he was not personally in charge of this collection. I think this collection was absolutely beautiful. I loved all of the ballet corset elements that they had here, lots of ribbon, and I think it was beautiful how all the models were carrying roses as kind of an homage to how Jean-Paul Gaultier would always give his models roses before the shows. I also think these sailor hats were a very nice touch and a kind of unique take on the traditional ballet corps that we've been seeing. You see all of the big heavy ribbons and the corsets and the pretty ballet pink contrasted with these sailor hats, which we wouldn't usually think to see in this sphere of fashion influence. Next up we have Victor and Rolf, who always do a very great job with the structure of their haute couture looks. I will say I usually resonate with more of the looks from their collections. This time, not so much, but I did love these two looks. I thought they were beautiful. I love the architecture of the pieces, and I think the layering was done very well here and very intelligently in a way that we haven't really seen other designers do as often. Suhair Murad will always have a special place in my heart, as they are the first haute couture collection that I ever saw back when I was like 14 and kind of helped me fall in love with runway fashion as a whole. These collections looked amazing on the runway, the way the fabric moved and the way the light caught the embellishments on the dresses. Beautiful silhouettes and just beautiful drapery as always. I was a really big fan of Valentino this year. I think they did an excellent job with the silhouettes in their pieces. Some of these I have never actually seen a silhouette done exactly in this way, so I thought that was incredible. I loved this one with the blazer over the very flouncy hem, and I absolutely loved this one, the blazer over the exaggerated hem on the mermaid. They did the signature roses thing, which we've seen them do in the past, and I also really loved the way they did the silhouette in this particular look. I've seen it with the collar all the way up. I haven't seen it with the slight asymmetrical neckline here, and I think with the high slit it looks really balanced, and that is not something that I would have expected from a look like this, and I think it just looks really well done. I'm not really a fan of the texture or the color that they used for the top part, but the silhouette I think was absolutely amazing. This is again another example of the same silhouette. I love the color choice in this particular one, and I think this whole collection was very well done as a whole. Especially love the shoe choice here with this look and the gold bow. And I think, you know, there was a time, maybe a year ago, a couple of years ago, where the strappy heel, the excessive strap, was really trending. And I think if you still have a shoe like that, you could very easily just do something like this and just hop on the bow trend that everyone is losing their minds over right now. I loved this blue metallic look from Fendi. I thought the texture and the color of this particular garment was very beautifully done. The Robert Woon collection had some exceptional looks. I absolutely adored this one. This is absolutely something that I would be wearing on the street if I had the opportunity to. I think this is just such a fun piece. I think the hat really makes the look. Loved the script on this particular garment with the sheer, and I thought this look also was very well done. Wouldn't have thought to include such big flamboyant hemming with a structured silhouette like this, and I think it looks beautiful. Gaurav Gupta had some excellent looks as well. I absolutely adored the structure and all of these silhouettes. This one particularly, this red one, is just to die for, and I loved the texture of the fabrics that he used as well. The fabric manipulation was absolutely stunning, and of course we cannot talk about this collection without talking about this beautiful corset that was done as well. The Celia Crithariati collection, I'm so sorry if I mispronounced that. I loved the underwater motifs in this collection. I think any haute couture collection that picks a theme and sticks to it needs to be applauded. I think we actually need more of that, more theatrics in haute couture. That is what this is all about. I absolutely loved all of the metallic blue fabrics and the incorporation of sequins. I thought that was a beautiful ode to how the ocean kind of sparkles in the sunlight. They did such a beautiful job with the beading in this particular look. I loved the feathers and the flowy fabrics that just kind of play into those water themes. Giambattista Valli is always one of my favorite collections, and I'm always looking forward to seeing what they come up with. I absolutely loved all of the draping of these fabrics, especially here with the tulle around the arms. I love what they did with the hair. I think the hair was just a real showstopper for this collection. And see, you can see here with this outfit in this particular look, the outfit is so simple, but the hair and the shoes particularly really make it into something special. And I think it is a really good example of how accessorizing can change the entire course of an outfit. And of course they had some show-stopping pieces as well. I love this beautiful orange gown from the back. And I also really loved this big white one with the rosettes. Again, the hair, just maximalism all the way through, and still not too terribly overdone, still keeping a lot of shape and structure that honors the feminine form with the middle part there at the waistline. And loved this beautiful hot pink one and the way that they did the shoulders and the neckline. Again, the flowers, I'm going to keep bringing up the flowers. I think it was just such an intricate and beautiful addition to this collection. This red one was probably my favorite. I love the way that they incorporated bows here, and also really loved the detailing on this floral piece. And last but not least, we have this beautiful white look. Again, like without the flowers, this would not have been necessarily as revolutionary as it was, but it was just stunning, such an impact. Danielle Rosenberry's Schiaparelli is always a crowd favorite, and this year is no different. I love the motherboard dress. This was probably my favorite look from him ever. I am a STEM girl at heart. I love the story that it was telling with all the pre-2007 technology. This was also quite a look. I don't know how she is seeing the runway and putting one foot in front of the other, but I think it was definitely a show-stopping piece, and I love what they did with the eyelashes and the hair, just the whole thing beautiful. These two looks I also loved from Schiaparelli. Loved the silhouette and the drapery of these fabrics, and I think the way that these garments moved on the runway was very beautiful and powerful. It's not Schiaparelli without at least one crazy jewelry piece, of course. This was beautifully done. It was just, I expect it from Schiaparelli at this point, but this giant ear with the giant pink exaggerated earring, absolutely stunning. And of course, this show-stopping final look with all of the architecture and intricate beading, absolutely beautiful and very well done, as usual. Last but certainly not least, we have Maison Margiela. Best Couture Week show, not just this week, but in many years. Absolutely beautiful. Pat McGrath killed it with the makeup, the theatrics of the whole place, absolutely stunning. The way the models walked, the excessive silhouettes complementing the entire theme, the way the set was designed to look like an old 1800s bar, the metro ticket for the invitation, everything was just absolutely incredible. The lighting, the music, the overall theatrics. This is how Couture Week should be done. This is what we want If anyone out there is watching this, looking to plan their next couture show, this is what we're talking about here. This is absolutely incredible. This blew everyone's minds with good reason. This is the artistry that fashion is all about. I just want to applaud every single person who worked on this collection. This was the most fun any of us have had in our entire, for most of us, Gen Z, right? Our entire lifetimes. We have never been able to experience this. It's not even my aesthetic. This is not even my general vibe that I gravitate towards, but just seeing something executed to this degree where you don't even know where to begin. You can't even see the moving parts for the show. You're just part of the experience. I think, can we do more of this? I know it's hard. I know that there's a lot of effort that goes into it, a lot of creativity, but if we could bring this back, this is the kind of stuff that's gonna save this train wreck of a world that we live in right now. This is what's going to bring it all back to life. 5 stars all around, cultural reset. Huge fan of everyone. I am gonna go and look at the credits for everything. Who were the models? Who were the makeup artists? Who was the stage manager? Who scouted? Who looked at all of the venues? Who put together the invitations? Who did the set? I'm looking at every single person and I'm following your work. This is amazing. All right, and that is it for this particular runway review. I am hoping to do more of these in the future, so if you liked this, let me know.